The X3 is one of BMW's best-selling SUVs, trailing just behind the larger X5. For many shoppers, it's a gateway to the German luxury car maker and luxury cars in general. It just underwent a full redesign for 2025 and expectations are high. The question is whether this X3 is better than its predecessor. Before we get around to answering that, do us a favor, hit the like and subscribe button below to get all of our latest content. In all honesty, I haven't been a fan of BMW's latest design trend, with the oversized grilles on its EVs, the 4 and 7 series, and don't even get me started on the XM. This new X3, thankfully, doesn't go down that road, though the grille is still on the large side in my opinion. It has some of the angular body panels that could have been inspired by the XM, but I think it's handled more gracefully. And I like how the faceted body panels sort of fold in with straight creases, giving a sharper and more modern look. The grille has these crosshatch strakes that try their best to mask all of the sensors behind these blocked off areas, while the hood has this beveled channel created by the grille gap to break up some of the otherwise flat sheet metal. From the side, there's a lot of visual heft from the large expanses of bodywork, giving it a more substantial presence than any of its rivals. The front and rear are also more upright and squared off for a more traditional SUV look. I'm not a big fan of the extended rear overhang though, because from some angles, it looks like it's sagging. Around the back, the angular theme is echoed in these sharp creases, while the split taillights are a bit more distinctive than the single light bar that many other SUVs have gone to. Up top, the spoiler adds some sportiness and has a similar channel to the hood. Overall, I think this new X3 stands out from the crowd, making the previous third generation look a little generic by comparison. But what do you think? Do you agree, or do you prefer the more traditional SUV look? Let us know in the comments below. The 2025 BMW X3 is available in 2 flavors. This is the base X3 30X drive with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that makes 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. All that power is channeled through an 8-speed automatic transmission, and all-wheel drive is standard. Above this is the M50X drive with a turbocharged 3-liter 6-cylinder. Power output increases to 393 horsepower and 428 pound-feet of torque. BMW estimates the X3 30X drive will accelerate to 60 miles an hour in 6 seconds, while the M50 should get there in only 4.4 seconds. There's no official announcement on if or when we'll get a true M version, but to put it into context, the last generation X3M made an impressive 473 horsepower. I think the vast majority of drivers will find the base X3 30X drive plenty powerful and athletic, so let's hop in and I'll show you why. Arguably, the best trait of this X3 is the way it drives, and it's sportier than what you'd get from an Audi or Mercedes. And even with this base model, there's plenty of power. So much so that I don't really see the point of spending the extra money to upgrade to the M50. Now, if you're really into performance, I'd suggest holding out for the X3M, because if the specs are anything like the last generation, it should be a real hoot to drive. As I said, there's plenty of power, and the handling is fantastic. Taking this turn here, it just corners nice and smooth. There's no bobbling back and forth. That comes slightly at the cost of ride comfort. It rides a little stiffer, but that's also because we have the M Sport suspension and 21-inch wheels. If you're looking for a more comfortable middle ground, I'd suggest sticking with the smaller wheels and probably skipping that M Performance package. Personally, I'd stick with the M Performance package because I like taking turns, and this does this excellently. But when you combine that handling with the brakes, which are easy to modulate and give a nice firm sporty feel, it really kind of inspires me to drive with a little more sporting intention. Like I said earlier, the ride quality is on the firm side, but it's not harsh. When you hit a pothole or a bump, it doesn't send a shock through the cabin. Overall, you just get a good feel of what the road's doing. You also get a little more road noise than what I'd expect from a luxury vehicle, but it's also not so bad where it wouldn't be drowned out by the radio or whatever else you're playing. On the highway, wind noise is pretty much absent, so overall this would be a pretty decent road trip car, as well as a fun little plaything in the canyons. Visibility-wise, it's pretty decent. As far as compact SUVs go, I'm getting a decent enough view out the back, and the mirrors are just big enough where I'm not guessing what's on the side. Of course, this comes with a full suite of advanced safety features, so if there is someone lurking in your blind spot, it'll let you know. The adaptive cruise control is one of the better ones, but Unfortunately, it's hard to adjust the following distance without having to dig into the menus. There is an automatic setting that sort of adjusts according to conditions, but I prefer to have all that control to myself. The thing that aggravates me more is there's an actual space here right next to the cruise controls that would be perfect for the distance. Overall, these systems work just as they should, and I only experienced one false alarm when I was on a really tight road and there was a car parked off to the side. In certain conditions, you can activate a hands-free drive mode as well, and in my experience, it actually operates really well to the point where you can trust it. So if you're like me and you're drawn to a little more performance, a little more fun behind the wheel, I think the X3 is your choice in the class. But driving isn't the only thing, so let's pull over and talk about the interior. In its standard form, the X3 comes with plenty of standard features, but I'd suggest adding the optional premium package. It comes with adaptive cruise control, a head-up display, a surround view camera, an interior camera for security or for selfies, a heated steering wheel, and a panoramic sunroof. It adds another $3,400 to the price, but I think it's well worth it. This dashboard sort of strays from BMW's past design language, which used to be primarily horizontal. This dash is bigger and chunkier and sort of mimics the beveling that you see on the outside with this angle here and throughout. Personally, I think it's pretty attractive, but it does seem to feel a little heavy, at least visually. I'm still not totally bought in with the whole tacked on screen here. Even though this one is curved and set in just a little bit, I prefer something that looks a little more bespoke, especially in a luxury car. One thing I do really like is the interior ambient lighting, and unlike some other lighting that you get in other cars, this one can actually be seen during the day. Like right here, it's kind of this warm coral look, but you can switch it in the menus here to blue or green or almost any other spectrum color you want. Speaking of that infotainment system, it is a little cumbersome. Some of the most basic things require digging through the menus, and at least there are some voice controls for the primary and secondary features, but if you want to do something like adjust the following distance in adaptive cruise control, it's a good 4 or 5 button pushes away. Now, thankfully, there are some shortcut buttons here in this panel with the capacitive touch buttons, and thankfully, they're not overly sensitive. You have to give it a really good push to get it to activate, and you get feedback with a little haptic tap. It actually feels pretty realistic, like you're touching a real button, even though the panel doesn't move at all. I'm also really happy that BMW put the dial back in. As a driver, using the touchscreen can be more distracting than using a dial because you can just move the cursor around and highlight individual tiles rather than having to take your eye off the road to touch it. Pretty much everything is set into that touchscreen, but the voice controls do help with things like temperature control or navigation and using your phone. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are both wireless and standard, which I actually prefer more to the native BMW infotainment system. Thankfully, they got rid of the whole idea of charging for that on a subscription too. When it comes to materials quality on the inside, it's not quite what I'd expect from BMW. These panels up here are kind of plasticky and they don't have as much cushioning as I'm used to from other BMWs. There is a lot of hard plastic in the center console and the center stack, but it's pretty sturdy and has a high quality feel to it. When it comes to storage, well, it's pretty well covered. First up, we have this wireless phone charger with a rubberized tray that keeps your phone really nicely secure, and there's another tray without a charger for your passenger's phone or whatever else you need there. The cup holders are actually pretty decently sized, and there's a good bin underneath my arm. The door pockets are about average in size and can hold just your typical water bottle. Comfort-wise, these seats do the job just fine. I've got plenty of lateral support and ample cushioning. I like how BMW has historically added these thigh extenders for taller people, and helping on warmer days is seat ventilation. Now, as is typical for a lot of German manufacturers, they tend to enjoy over-engineering some of the most simple things, and that applies here too, especially to the air vents. Instead of the little tab that you have directly on the strakes, you have this weird little rubberized knob and pivot thing that you just sort of have to move it around and tilt it up and down. The problem I have with it is you don't really know where it's aiming visually, you just kind of have to feel for it. You also have the same thing here on the side, but I was a little mystified by what this little slider is here on the door, but after figuring it out, it's for opening and closing the vent. And it's also mirrored right here in the center of the dash. Even though this is a compact SUV, I have plenty of room. I'm 5'10", sitting behind the driver's seat, which is set for me, and as you can see, I'm not wanting for more legroom. I have plenty of space underneath the front seat for my feet, and there's a good amount of thigh support too. It's not mounted so low in order to get you more headroom. Materials quality back here is about the same as the front, with some hard-ish plastics, but I'm calling out this door handle here, which is almost the same as the front, but it has these really sharp plastic edges that is really uncharacteristic for BMW. In the center console, we have, yet again, those over-engineered vents, a shallow little pocket, and 2 USB charge ports. In my center armrest, we have 2 small cup holders as well. The sense of space back here is enhanced by this massive panoramic sunroof. But even without it, I think the windows are big enough to not give you that closed-in feeling. Here on the seat back is this little opening notch here. That allows you to use some of BMW's accessories. You can get a hanger here, which is a nice place to hold your coat, or you can use an iPad holder for your rear passengers. Behind the rear seats, we have 31.5 cubic feet of cargo space, and that's a pretty decent size. It's helped by a power liftgate and these handy hooks here that pop out from the sides so that your groceries won't spill out when you take a turn. I normally don't call out cargo covers, but this one I particularly like because it's really easy to use and easy to remove. Unfortunately, there's no underfloor storage because of the spare tire, and there's also no remote seat back releases, which means you kind of have to reach in and push the seats forward to get larger, bulkier objects in. But altogether, I think cargo-wise, the X3 should do the job just fine. The X3 starts just above $51,000, and with options, this particular one has a sticker close to 61 grand. Stepping up to the X3 M50 will set you back $67,000 to start. The X3 in this form is estimated by the EPA to return 29 mpg in combined city and highway miles, and that's pretty decent for the class. The X3 is priced to be competitive with its main rivals, the Audi Q5 and Mercedes-Benz GLC class. The Q5 was also redesigned for 2025, while the current GLC generation debuted just 2 years ago. The X3 stands out from other German compact SUVs with its stronger overall performance, and that's right in line with BMW's positioning in the industry. The Mercedes tends to favor luxury a little more, while the Audi sort of splits the difference with a tech-forward personality. Among these excellent choices, I'm personally drawn to the X3, but I've always been a sucker for sportier cars. Since there's no loser in the bunch, that means you're the winner. So what would you choose? Do you take the luxury route with the Mercedes? Or are you like me and want a little more fun between point A and point B? Or maybe the wider appeal of the Audi is calling you? Let us know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons below, and we'll see you in the next review.